You're listening to the Ask Drone U podcast. You ask, we answer your drone questions. Whether you're here to turn your passion into profit or you simply fly for fun, we're a community of learners and teachers who aspire to achieve greatness. We are
Drone U.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another fantastic episode of Ask a Drone U. My name is Paul.
And my name is Rob. Thank you for hanging out with us today. We appreciate it as always. Do you have a question? I know you do. And I know that a lot of other people have the same question that you haven't called in and asked yet, because that's the way it works. So go to askdroneu.com today and get your question in. We want to hear from you. It's important, and this show doesn't happen without you and your questions.
It sure doesn't, but that's why we're here, and we are excited to answer them. On today's docket, we'll be talking about how we have been seeing more and more drone footage in national parks, but yet there is still no clarity from the agency whatsoever about how to get permits with drones. So we do find it interesting that there has been more and more national park footage on national television, like CBS Sunday Morning outright saying that they're flying into the Grand Canyon, yet NPS says they outright ban drones. So how did that happen? Well, don't forget the Drone Pilot Fuel Kit, which shows you exactly how you can operate drones in national parks when you're operating from outside. It is completely legal, but we're hoping that we can kind of force NPS to change this order, because we know that drones are being flown all over national parks. And we also understand that there are drone pilots that they are worried about, and rightly so, but there are drone pilots that they don't need to be worried about, and we're going to talk about that. So,
indeed, it would be fantastic if there was a system, even if it was a challenging system to get through to be able to fly.
True.
With high standards, at least it would be something.
That is so true.
But let's listen to our question asker to get things rolling.
Hey guys, Chris here in Ohio. My wife and I just returned from Las Vegas. It was beautiful. I took my Mavic 2 Zoom to the Bureau of Land Management operated Red Rock Canyon, where I received no problems with the drone, great footage from the drone, just a great time all around, in 2 days altogether. The only thing I did is I made sure I talked to people, around where I was going to be working, so I didn't just take the drone up and I wanted people to know what I was doing when I was doing it, and that seemed to work out very well. My question is, it really irks me that we can't fly in national parks, like as a hard line, no wiggle room, nothing. So I was wondering if you guys have any advice on ways that we as responsible drone owners and pilots can lobby in a way that would get some kind of response. I've had some good conversations with my congressmen who have no problem with it, but they really aren't sure what to do about it, because the Bureau of Land Management and the National Park Service are their own organizations. So I love your guys' show. I listen to it all the time on YouTube. So have a great day.
Hey, Chris, you have a great day as well. And definitely a lot of folks share that frustration with you. You're mentioning you've seen some footage, so somebody's flying.
CBS Sunday Morning 2 Sundays ago literally posted them flying through the Grand Canyon. And then I just saw a documentary on Netflix where they're flying all over Teton National Park. And I'm not the kind of guy that's like, oh, you're flying in a national park, you shouldn't be doing that. I'm the kind of guy that says fly on, because I know how many other people are posting videos all over YouTube. And actually, I've now seen someone get a ticket for flying a drone. And after seeing that the NPS has kind of calmed down and it's only $25, I'm kind of like, well, if it's only $25 to deal with a knee-jerk reaction to someone who's uneducated about drones, I'll take a $25 fine all day long. But that's just me. You have to make your own decision. I think that there are better ways to go about solving this problem, though. He mentioned that he's been going after his congressman to talk to NPS about, what to do. The fact that his congressman says, I don't know what to do, sounds like a cop-out for, I don't want to handle your problem. It's like, you're in Congress and you don't know who to talk to? Like, okay, you're fired. Like, that's what I would do. But I think actually what we should all do as drone pilots is figure out if there is a congressional committee for national parks, because chances are there are national park subcommittees. Okay, it looks like the senators that we all need to get in touch with are Senator Steve Daines from Montana, Senator John Barrasso from Wyoming, Senator Mike Lee from Utah, Senator Cory Gardner. Gosh, I like him. I'm gonna actually email him and see if we can talk to him. Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith from Mississippi, Lamar Alexander from Tennessee, and Joe Hoven from North Dakota. Then we've got Senator Angus King Jr., Bernie Sanders, Debbie Stabenow, Martin Heinrich from New Mexico. That's good to know. We should ask him too. And looks like Mazie Hirono from Hawaii.
So we should put that link in the show notes for sure.
Yeah, here, let me send you this link really quick. I think what we all need to do is reach out to these senators and tell them and express that, hey, we believe national parks need a thorough and systematic way to allow permitting for responsible and educated drone pilots to fly in national parks. Because, look, we understand that there are a lot of hobbyists and recreational people who don't know about flying near things or flying too close to things, or they're just willing to push the envelope a little too far, and that's fine. But there should be a way for people who know what they're doing to be able to just, say, hey, I should be able to get a permit. Because without having this permitting process, all we're doing, literally all we're doing is giving people reason to say, don't obey the regulation because it doesn't really make sense. And it's like, you know what, guys, this is an easy problem to solve. I am going to Senator Cory.
Well, and I kind of wonder because you can do things, I presume, at least in certain parks, things like ride razors, four-wheelers, motorcycles, things that I would think are a lot more invasive to the land than, I don't know that for sure, but I'm pretty sure you can do those things in there. You can certainly be in cars, right?
Yep.
In these places. And so I think it's probably a matter of education and getting these folks information that they can use to develop the permitting process and just basic things like make sure they have a 107 or whatever it is. They just need to be educated because there's still a large group that for fear or other reasons are saying no for the sake of saying no.
Yeah, literally.
But we can help educate them, and I believe this will change.
I think it will too. If anything, it's going to change from NPS within because I know they're dealing with drones all the time from other people who just simply don't know the rules. And there are I will say this just really quick. I think that there are certain places where drones should not be allowed in national parks. And in fact, I talked to a good friend, Brian, about this, and he said, look, national parks, there are areas where there are tour guides, there are helicopter tours, plane tours going through the Grand Canyon, and those are areas where drones should not be flying. And I agree. And drones got to yield to manned aircraft every single time, all day long. Like it has to. So that's interesting that someone else has actually posted our content and a picture of the content without backlinking our content. Oh, I'm so sick of people stealing our stuff. It just gets under my skin.
Focus.
Okay, focusing. It goes to show that we were at least putting out the right information.
Yes.
It goes to show, though, that there are areas where it can cause significant issues, but we should also be allowed to fly. There are areas like the Glen Canyon Dam where this is no longer a national park issue. We're actually talking about, restricted airspace because critical infrastructure for the United States. So there are areas that you cannot fly drones there. In fact, I just recently saw a sign that was mentioning a law I'd never seen before. It was 43 CFR. I think it was 43 CFR 128, but I'm not sure if that's correct or not. But there are areas where it is a security concern and you should not be able to fly drones, but there are areas where we should have a systematic means of being allowed to fly. How can you help? One of two ways. Way number one, file for a photography permit weekly. And have one of the permits for no drones and then include them and then file the same one over and over and over at different parks and just see what response you get, because I've heard some parks are allowing them and they're allowing permits. So I would love to know who's allowing them and who's not. I believe I've been told it comes down to the regional command. So whichever whichever type of person is in that regional command position. It just
Which
goes
is
to
true for a lot of things, right?
what
Whether
else
it's-
is true, Rob, is if everyone would actually use the tactics of the book, Never Split the Difference, people would seriously get what they wanted all the time without hurting other people. I mean that.
Okay, so explain why you're saying that in this particular case.
Well, these type of regional command people, I'm sure, control freaks. I'm sure there's a lot of micromanagers. I'm sure they believe their decision and they don't want to make another decision because they're making a decision based out of fear. Meaning, if they're about to retire, they don't want to be the guys that say, okay, drones are in our park, and then something terrible happens because they didn't actually think through the system of how to regulate the drones properly, and now their retirement is threatened because they didn't make a good, systematic, deep decision. Okay? But I think a better way to go about that would be to go into the regional director's office as an employee of NPS and say, sir, how do you expect people to follow the rules of no flying when there isn't a system to get permits to fly? And just don't say anything else. Just let it sit there. Like literally, let it sit there. I mean, there are so many open-ended calibrated questions that we can use to help label the situation, set the environment that we want, and then utilize these calibrated questions to say like, look, you're not helping anyone or yourself by doing this.
Yeah, and I think that as you folks reach out to members of Congress, to your Congress people, your representatives, as well as perhaps people on this subcommittee that we're going to give you the link for, you want to use questions like that are calibrated questions.
Yes.
How do you expect to create a safe flying environment when you're not creating the guidelines to which people can adhere, right? Because the reality is people are going to fly regardless, and that's just going to create more problems. And so we want to help them help themselves allow flying in the appropriate ways in the appropriate areas. It's very doable. And I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that are in the NPS system, that rangers and so forth, that their intentions and their motives are fantastic. They just want to protect the environment that they've been tasked with protecting. And so we want to help them feel like they can continue to do that while safely allowing people to fly. And so it's a process. It takes a while, and we seem to forget sometimes that the drone industry is still very new. And, a lot of these folks that have been in that world have been there for perhaps even decades. And so it doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen through grassroots, education-based communication to the people that can make the decisions. And so I think that's what we need to do.
I agree. I will yield to you. So
No yielding necessary. I think I'm just, in a sense, reiterating what you already said. So I just want to see everybody actually take action and do it, because imagine some of the beautiful footage that we're missing out on in national parks.
Well, are we missing out on them? Are we missing out on that footage? Question mark.
How about we are...
On that bombshell. That is going to do it for us today. My name is Paul.
I'm Rob. AskDroneU.com. Question. Get it in.
Bingo.